Hello, I'm Steve McNary at the MK Morse Company headquarters here in Canton, Ohio. MK Morse is committed to providing the best performing industrial bandsaw blades, metal cutting circular blades and saws, and power tool accessories available in the marketplace. This commitment not only involves producing world-class products, it also involves customers who are knowledgeable in their safe and efficient use. That's why MK Morse has invested the resources necessary in-house and in the field to train and inform you, our customers, about how to achieve the maximum performance when using our products. Take the Metal Devil 14-inch metal cutting circular saw, for example. The quick, cool, clean cut of the Metal Devil provides significant advantages over alternative methods of cutting. But in order to experience the maximum performance that the blade and the machine offers, there is some important information that you need to know concerning how to orient material in the vise before a cut. We refer to this as part orientation, and how you orient material in the vise will have an impact on the cutting characteristics and the overall performance of the saw and the blade. So let's pay a visit to our tech center and discover some important information concerning part orientation. If your cutting operation is like most, you have an endless amount of types and shapes of materials to be cut. We've devised a simple method by which you can determine the best orientation for maximum cutting performance. First, I'll explain the method, and then I'll show you how to apply this method with some commonly cut materials. First, hold the material safely and securely in the vise without damaging or deforming it. Second, orient the material with the most uniform cross-section possible for the blade to cut through. And third, minimize flat areas in the cut path as much as possible. Now let's see how these guidelines apply with one of the most common structural steels used in the marketplace, 2-inch by 2-inch, 1/4-inch thick angle iron. We've installed the Metal Devil 72-2 steel cut blade to cut this material. In this case, there are 3 basic configurations that can be used when orienting this material in the vise. The first is with one leg on the base of the saw or reverse L shape. The second is with both legs on the base of the saw or A shape. And the third with both legs against the fence of the saw or sideways V shape, like so. Notice that as I check for proper orientation, I lower the blade so that I can clearly see the cut path the blade will follow as it cuts through the material. Now let's see what the cut times are for each orientation. As you can see, the orientation with one leg flat on the base of the saw produced the longest cut time. This is because the blade had to pass through the wide flat area at the bottom of the cut. In general, wide flat areas slow the blade down and reduce blade life. The other 2 orientations provide more uniform cross sections throughout the cut and eliminated the wide flat area. Therefore, the least desirable orientation when cutting angle iron is with one leg flat on the base of the saw. It's important to note, however, that some situations may dictate the use of this less desirable orientation. Angle cuts, process issues, or material handling issues may dictate the use of this orientation. Now let's look at the orientations for channel iron and their associated cut times. The worst orientation for this material is with the legs up and the wide flat on the base of the saw, like so. In this orientation, you can see that the blade has to pass through a wide flat at the bottom of the cut, which is sure to slow down the cut time. In the orientation with the legs down, we've improved the cross-section somewhat in that the blade will pass across the plane of the flat instead of through it. In the vertical orientation, we've eliminated the wide flat area and we've improved the cross-section throughout the cut. However, due to the height of the channel, we've created a vicing problem. In this orientation, a spacer can be utilized so that you can hold the material safely and securely while it's cut vertically. Fortunately, MK Morse has provided the solution by utilizing the V-blocks. By tilting the fence side leg up, we've improved the cross-section, eliminated the flats, and safely and securely held the material during the cut. Notice that we're not tilting the vise side leg up because this orientation would cause the blade to pass through a flat. Now let's see what the cut times are for the various orientations. With plate steel, it's always best to avoid laying the material flat. Therefore, a vertical orientation would always be preferred over the flat, time-consuming cut. The height limit for the saw in the vertical orientation is 4 3/4 inches. The wider material can be accommodated by moving the fence to the rear mount position as we've done here. We've improved the cross-section and eliminated the flat by tipping the plate into the fence side V-block as we've done here. Now let's compare the cut times for both orientations. Square tube by itself offers few options with regard to orientation. And as we've learned, the flats on the top and the bottom are sure to slow down the cut time. But MK Morse has offered a solution to the problem with the optional V-blocks. The V-blocks are designed to hold the material in a diamond shape, safely and securely, providing a uniform cross-section to cut through and minimizing flat areas in the cut path. Also, I'd like to touch on weld seams. Weld seams are commonly found in structural steel. The material around a weld seam is typically harder than the surrounding material and therefore has an impact on the overall cutting performance. Without going into any unnecessary detail, testing has shown that the weld seam is best oriented between the 9 and 11 o'clock position when facing the operator. Again, angle cutting or process issues may not allow for utilizing the V-blocks with the diamond shape orientation, but we recommend using them whenever possible. Steel strut is handled the same as square tubing, even when bundled 2 at a time. We've installed a Metal Devil 90-tooth thin steel blade to cut this material. The V-blocks have also been installed so that we can cut the material in a diamond shape. Metal Devil technology is ideal for all thread rod due to the smooth, burr-free cut that doesn't require thread cleanup like alternative methods of cutting do. A wooden fixture like the one we have here can be used to hold the material properly while providing a uniform cross-section for the blade. Bundled threaded rod can also be cut by wrapping each side of the cut with tape or other strong material to prevent any movement. Any movement that occurs during the cut can result in damage to the blade, the saw, and the material. The time savings cutting all thread with Metal Devil is undeniable and will provide a competitive advantage over anyone using abrasive technology. Although we can cut a single piece with this blade, we found that the blade actually performs better when 2 or more pieces are nested together. It all has to do with the shape of the material. By nesting 2 or more pieces at a time, we're able to orient the material vertically for better performance. The guidelines apply differently with this material because it's thin gauge steel. In general, we're not as concerned with uniform cross-section or minimizing flat areas in the cut. The main concern with cutting steel stud is to hold the material safely and securely in the vise. Now, this is the key to getting the best performance from the steel stud blade. Be sure to orient the upper or exposed leg like so. Standard steel studs come in nested, banded bundles of 10. Here is an example of a supplied bundle of 10 cut with the material oriented properly in the saw. To recap, let's list the tips I've introduced when cutting steel studs. First, avoid single piece cutting if possible, and cut with the legs up, not down. Second, use light down pressure to feed the blade slowly through the material. And third, orient nested bundles so that the ends of the upper legs face the saw fence. Mechanical contractors cut too many types of thin gauge metal to deal with here, so we've selected 3 of the most common. We'll start with ductmate. A Metal Devil 90-tooth thin steel blade will be used to cut these materials. However, the steel stud blade will also work well in this application. This material can be cut efficiently with the Metal Devil saw in almost any orientation except one. When we orient the ductmate in a triangle shape with the wide leg facing the vise, the action of the blade during the cut tends to lift the wide leg like so and damages the blade and the material. In the opposite orientation with the wide leg against the fence, the material doesn't move during the cut and a successful cut can be made. The best orientation, however, is a sideways V shape with the wide leg facing up. This orientation allows for efficient bundle cutting as well. The turning vanes are also easily cut with the Metal Devil, provided they are oriented properly. The best performing orientation is vertically with the legs against the fence, like so. This should be an easy one. The slide-on connector should be oriented vertically for best performance. Another great application for the Metal Devil is cable raceway. It comes in all sorts of sizes, types, and configurations. But we decided to demonstrate with one of the more common types, 4x4 with the attached lid. Fortunately, we can cut with the lid on, which adds to the time savings. This material presents two orientations that should not be used. It can't be cut with the lid up because there is no safe way to secure the lid during the cut. And it can't be cut with the lid down because the legs present a problem for the blade as it passes through the cut. Also, the material is too tall to benefit from orienting it in a diamond shape with the V-blocks. However, the raceway can be cut well with the lid sideways against the fence or the vise. Always ensure that the mounting screws are not contact with the vise or the fence to ensure a square cut. At MK Morse, we want every customer to experience the maximum performance possible when using our products. To that end, we hope that you incorporate this valuable information that we've discussed concerning part orientation when using your Metal Devil 14-inch metal cutting circular saw. Remember, how you orient material in the vise will have an impact on the overall cutting performance. Orient the material with the most uniform cross-section possible for the blade to cut through. Also, try to minimize flat areas in the cut path whenever possible. Be sure to read and understand all of the safety and operating instructions in the owner's manual completely before operating this equipment. At MK Morse, we are committed to providing customer support and information just like we deliver our products, correct and on time every time. So whether you're seeking assistance from us here in the factory or somewhere near you, MK Morse is never far away. Thank you for your time.